November 4th, 2024, Introduction to Sociological Research, Professor Julia Coltai. It's been 3 weeks since I've been in this class. Last week was vacation, so there was no class. The week before, I went into self-imposed exile after I got an email from the admins of the Sociology program to talk about the inappropriate behavior I've had in class. It turned out the teacher from Intro to Sociology 3 was upset about some things I've said in class. A discussion-based class where my contributions to the discussion are controversial? Go figure. Anyway, it was only an 8-minute meeting and I wasn't in trouble, but that week was stressful and disheartening because I didn't make the debate team, and the anxiety I had leading up to going into the principal's office had me losing weight. Anyway, it's good to be back in class. I walk in the hall and niggas give me daps and bitches give me hugs. Right now, Professor Coltai is talking about how to label different types of observers and participants in experiments. What separates experiments from other types of scientific study is you have some type of control. Experiments have standardized measuring instruments and observation. Social scientists love experiments because it's the only way to test causal relationships in explanatory research. However, what can be detected in a lab may not happen in social situations. The classical experiment has independent and dependent variables, pre-testing and post-testing, and experimental and control groups. She's now talking about the classic Asch experiment where people lie and say a shorter line is the same length as a longer one to see whether a person not in the know would cave to group pressure. In that experiment, the group pressure is the independent variable and the dependent variable is the decision to agree or not agree with the group. The pre-testing is making sure the different lines are visibly different in length. The post-testing is recording the response to whether agree or not. The experimental group is the person who does not know that the others in the group are agreeing on the wrong answer. The control group are the collaborators. A double-blind experiment would be when both control and experimental don't know which is which. Experimental and control groups should be as similar as possible. Something to look out for when experimenting is internal invalidity. That is the possibility that the conclusion drawn from results may not reflect what went on in the experiment itself. She gave the example of 9/11, a major historical event that could greatly influence people's opinions and should be taken into account if you're doing research on people's attitudes to immigrants on September 10th, 2001, for example. Now she's showing flowcharts, and the only part I'm interested in is hypothesis leads to studies, leads to historical research. The end. Now we welcome Darina, a young woman who will be the teaching assistant. I guess a part of the PhD program is to teach one class because she is teaching us about research. She's talking about researching social policy, whether an action should be done by governments to affect social change. This is actually something I'm interested in. This girl, Darina, is wearing some fire green Timberlands with the laces undone. I want them bitches so bad. She's now showing a video still of the Swedish domestic abuse experiment, where a fake couple fight in an elevator and scientists record how people react or don't react at all. She's talking about all the things one would be trying to measure in that experiment, the different places one could conduct this experiment, and the many independent and dependent variables. She's smart, but nobody in class is listening because everyone is sick, sneezing, and coughing. In the words of E40, man, it's sick out here. Notes from the Undergrad, Chapter 15, Simon Hill.